Hello and welcome back to A Splash of Paint. Now we all know that canvas is one of the most popular painting surfaces because of its strength and durability. But here's a quick question. Have you ever wondered what to do with a damaged, stretched canvas? Can you get accidental dents out of it? Do you put your works of art in a dark corner and forget about them? Well, don't throw them away. Let's join versatile artist Terry Chipp as he reveals a simple studio secret, how you can successfully rescue a dented canvas.
Today I'm going to show you a very simple little tip that can solve a lot of problems that my students particularly come up with. Very often they'll buy a canvas, have it about the house, and when they come to use it, find something's been leaning against it or whatever, and there's a dint in the canvas. And you try to push it out, and it sticks out. Push it back, it goes in, it won't go flat. And they abandon the canvas because what can you do about it? Actually, the answer is very simple indeed. You need a brush, you need water, you take the canvas, and on the back, where the bump is there, just paint the water all over. Rub it well in because there will be some priming on this canvas which will resist the water to a certain extent, but just rub that in and take a few minutes for that to dry off. Then we'll see if it flattens out. So there we are, a few minutes to dry and the canvas is as smooth and taut as you could wish. Very simple, one saved canvas.
Great tip there, Terry, a handy thing to know. Be sure to try it out sometime, see how it works for you. Now before we take a little break, it's time for our regular introducing feature, where we throw the spotlight on an up-and-coming SAA professional artist who is causing a creative stir. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Mike Skidmore, whose detailed portraits seem almost real. Let's find out a little more about Mike and take a look at him in action.
Hello, and nice to meet you all. Today I'm going to show you a really quick technique that is absolutely perfect for creating strong contrast on a portrait. What I've got in the background underneath all of this brown stuff is a drawing that I've done with Payne's Grey acrylic. I've let that dry, and then over the top here I've put some burnt umber and I've put some Payne's Grey mixed with a bit of medium to thin it down so that I can just about see through it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the lighter areas on this high contrast picture by wiping off the paint with a cloth. So here we go. Now what I'm going to do first is just wipe off some broad areas, because the harder I press, the more paint I take off, which means I can control how the picture looks and the element of highlight that I want to get into it. So using a big fat finger and a cloth, anybody can do this, it's such an easy way to work. I can just wipe out the main highlighted areas. There we go. And what I'm doing while I'm doing this is I'm following the contours of the face as I wipe. It's not going to have a big impact on the final painting, but it helps me to feel like I've got to know the shape of the face while I'm doing it. A good way to kind of look at this is you can't imagine having a facial massage. For those of you who are lucky enough to have had one, there's a way in which your face is massaged and there's a way in which it's not. For example, when you massage the nose, down like that, you don't go like this. And when you do the eyebrows, you go like that, you don't go like this. Or at least that's the case when I had a facial massage. Anyway, so what that means is if we follow the same kind of lines and think about the fact that the nose is going down, the eyebrows are going that way, the cheeks are coming round here, the mouth and above the mouth going that way, the chin's coming round like that, it makes it much easier to know exactly what you need to do with the cloth. In other words, kind of think sculpture. Now I'm just going to wipe a few bits off on this darker side where there's some slightly lighter tonal bits. And so I'm just using my finger, nothing clever, and I'm creating shapes and pulling the paint into the contours of the face. Okay, that'll do me for the first bit. Now what I'm going to do is take a blending brush, or a fan brush, depends what you call it, and I'm just going to soften what I've done, because that helps to smooth the lines in together to create a more three-dimensional finish. Now I can go back again and I can wipe more paint off to create stronger highlights. Like that. Like that. It's a very, very rewarding technique, this. And the great thing about it is, if it goes wrong, chuck a bit of terps at it, wipe it off, and have another go. And of course, I'm using burnt umber and Payne's grey here, but reality is you can use any colours you want. So if you fancy having to go at a portrait with a green underpainting, do it in green. Blue, red, all of them will work, and all will give you a slightly different effect. Okay, I'm going to grab my blending brush again and take a little bit more out like that. Okay, what I can now do is, if I grab my mahl stick and a cotton bud, I can go in and I can just take out some of those delicate little areas. And I can even put a bit of a highlight in the eye. We'll take a little bit out this side. And a little bit of light there. And we get some of his eyes coming in. And then I'll take a few stronger highlights out with the cotton bud. Do that. Go back to my cloth again, and I can start to now rub out some really quite strong shapes to start to get the face to really be three-dimensional. Like that. And then to finish off, what I can do is I can go back in with a bit of darker paint to strengthen any lines I need around the eyes, around the nose, and I can pinch paint from somewhere else and put it back in again. So if I want to just take a little bit of this, and I can put it back into there to create more of a shadow around the nose. Okay, now just to finish this quick demonstration off, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strengthen some of the darks around the eyes and flatten a few bits on the forehead, and we should then get to the result we're looking for. But I can work back in now with darker paint to really contrast the work that I've done. Okay, I'll put a little bit more in there. and there. Then what I want to do is just soften off on the forehead a bit, because that hasn't gone where I wanted it to first time. That's quite handy for a demonstration like this, because I can then grab my cloth, push the paint back over it and wipe it off again. All the time thinking about shapes. That's a better shape forehead now. A little bit more light down there. And that side of his face is starting to go where I want it to go. Take a little bit up more off here. Now a little bit more here. That ear, to show that he's actually got an ear. Blending brush again. Any of the little areas that have gone over, I can just tickle them in, like that. So there you go, really clever technique, very quick. You can keep working this, keep wiping off, blending it off, wiping off, blending it off, add a few details, and you'll end up with a very sculptural, tonal picture that's ideal for very large areas of dark and light in contrast.
Well done, Mike. It's great to see what years of dedication and discipline can achieve. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more from Mike in the future. Now it's time for a quick break, folks, but join us in part 3 for this week's Art Bite project, as Vic Bearcroft demonstrates how to use a few simple shapes to create your favourite animal. And I'll be putting the finishing touches to today's watercolour painting.